I'm sorry.
Did you join the discussion before, Ms. Ha?
Thank you, Sarah. But I think I not enough language for discuss.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's hard that we know. So anyway, I'm always glad when you can join her. That's great that you can listen.
Yes,
And hi, Gillian. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you so much. I enjoy for listening.
Yes. Now I know which ha it is. Yes, good.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think you're joined on DSG as well. So that's good.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And Gillian, any more questions about Chitta and Chaitasikas, or is it that a little clearer now?
Yes, it is. I think I will come to a question sometime, but it hasn't come to me right now. So thank you.
Needs to percolate a bit.
Yeah.
Good.
But just on, since you've mentioned Jittas and Jetasikas, then I'll just make the comment that for Gillian, that what we take to be consciousness is in reality just different moments of Chitta accompanied by Jetasikas. So any experiencing is carried out by consciousness, or in other words, by Chitta and Jettasika. Because in the teaching, what we call consciousness and think of as a continuous stream of experiencing is in reality just different moments of consciousness that arise and fall away very rapidly, and are perceived as being continuous. So that's just by way of background explanation.
Yeah,
trying to relate these terms, the Pali terms, to the present moment. Because that's why we are studying these terms, to understand better the reality of the present moment.
Yes.
Yes, that's the main point. It's not just to learn the terms, the Pali terms, or the meanings, or the words, but just for the sake of understanding what is now. Otherwise, it's always I and my experience and my reality. So we discuss, we consider, we use different words, different terms, just for the purpose of understanding life now as not I, not something, not someone. Otherwise, we can get lost in the terms and the details and the words and forget about the purpose, which is understanding life now.
And you think you have to know stuff, but that's part of the part of this. Yeah.
In fact, there could be understanding of the present moment consciousness without knowing the terms Chitta and Jettasika. Yes.
Yeah.
And one point Ajahn stressed last time was it's not try to do anything, like try to work it out, try to analyze the meaning, but it's just to understand that what is now is a Dhamma arising by conditions. That's all. Otherwise, it's I trying to do again, I trying to work it out, I trying to catch the meaning, not the understanding of just what appears. So it's very subtle, of course. And as Ajahn also stresses a lot, the more understanding there is of the truth, the more joy there is in that understanding, because it is a little letting go each time of the baggage, the burden of what I should do, or I trying this or that. So development of understanding is gradual letting go of the idea of I. Even I should be here, even I should turn on the Zoom. It's not the understanding of Dhamma at this moment. Does anyone else have any topic they would like to bring up today? Alberto, would you like to bring up anything today? Or Zita, or anyone?
Yeah, I saw. The usual topic is what is there now, beginning to finding the answer, beginning to see what is there now is our mission impossible, mission almost impossible. I was listening to Ajah's last month in the English discussion about the Upanaiko as the closest reality is the one which is appearing. I never considered that before, because there are also other realities which are arising but not appearing, and Ajahn was saying that they are not as close as the one which is appearing now. It's,
Yes, and come close means close to what is appearing, because it's the only reality that can be understood now. So when you say it's almost mission impossible to understand what is now, well, opanayiko, it means begin to understand what appears now. And in the beginning, it has to be the intellectual understanding of what is now, like seeing is now, what is seen is right now, thinking is now. So beginning to consider, to reflect wisely on what is so close, what is now, in order for the understanding to develop, to directly understand the characteristic of what is now. So this is what is meant by opanayiko, come close to what is appearing now.
and dukkha is now, and the second noble truth is now, and the last noble truth is now, well, can be now.
Can be now, is only now, moments of right understanding of what appears now. Not at the moment of clinging. So it's for a moment and then gone. Whatever arises, whether it's clinging or whether it's right understanding, is for a moment and then gone. Each one is dukkha, gone instantly.
When there is the understanding of dukkha, there must be also the way must be there. Or when there is understanding of the cause of dukkha. the way is there to Upanayiko. So getting closer to dukkha, getting closer to the cause of dukkha and to the way.
Only by understanding what appears now, only by being close to the reality now, a reality which arises and falls away so rapidly, so fast. Otherwise, there cannot be any getting close to dukkha without understanding the dhammas that appear and are gone instantly.
Yeah, because dukkha is there now and the cause of dukkha is there now. But without the understanding, neither are appearing, neither appear. So
without understanding the different dhammas that appear now, without beginning to be close to them, then it's just the idea of dukkha, of what is painful or unsatisfactory, is not the understanding of the noble truth of dukkha, that even the understanding now is dukkha, the kindness now is dukkha, seeing now is dukkha. Whatever arises falls away instantly, so it's dukkha. So the getting close has to be to the understanding of the reality that appears. Otherwise, it will never be understood as dukkha. It will just be a conventional idea of dukkha.
yeah, as long as it's I am dukkha or I am the cause of dukkha, or is my dukkha and my I'm there won't be the path. There won't be. That's why it's so subtle to.
Yes, and it will always be I unless it's the understanding of what appears now as Dhamma. It's the only way. Let's see if Ajahn would like to add some points to the topics you've brought up.
We are talking about the truth, but what is there and what is the truth of it? Otherwise, we think that we understand whatever is there as something, as some kinds of knowledge, but in truth, the truth is unknown. If there is no one at all who realizes the truth and thought about the truth of what is there, the truth of the world, the truth of seeing, the truth of liking, the truth of painful feeling, and so on. But it's unknown because it's so very, very daily life. Each moment right now, no one knows the truth of what is there from moment to moment in life. So we just talk about life and everything according to what we take it as this or that, by way of different ideas about all things there. Go to school, learn to understand the subjects and so on, stage by stage. But what is the truth of each moment or the truth of life? It's unknown because there is the idea of there is birth and death and seeing and hearing. But what is the truth of it? Unknown. That's why there is the idea of self, of something, on and on and on, because of what appears as different shape and forms to be taken for this person or that person and things around. But in truth, it can be known. Otherwise, it's the world of ignorance and attachment from moment to moment, deeply down and down and down, so that can never be the understanding of the truth of this moment of life. To understand it, to be aware, to get rid of it, to really eradicate the wrong understanding of life, which is so very, very enormous from moment to moment, years and years ago. That's why we begin to understand what life is, what is the truth of life. Any moment there is life, but it's taken for I and things around all the time. That's why beginning to consider what is true and what is not true, and what is useful and what is not useful, what is beneficial and what is not beneficial at all. That's why then little by little to understand what is there, to get to the truth of it, which is so very deep, because it just appears, no one knows how come, and it's gone unknowingly. It's just moment to moment of I or something all the way. But that is not the truth of life. The truth of reality of that which is there as someone cannot be anyone at all. It's just a nature of the truth, the reality, which is conditioned. When it's conditioned, what can anyone do? Because in truth, there's no one. Only there are conditions, and reality just arise by being conditioned for whatever arises together and so on. That's why learn to understand the truth. At moment of understand, it does not hurt, but it brings joy. The truth of life can be known because it's there to study. Otherwise, it is ignorance and clinging all the time from birth to death, each life on and on and on and on. That's why any moment of talking about the truth is the way to understand the truth, to wear away ignorance and attachment and wrong understanding and all kinds of akusla, kilesa. No one see the danger of akusla. No one see the danger of ignorance, because it's the cause of all kinds of akusla and kusla as well, by way of paticca. What condition what from moment to moment, each moment. And this is now unknown until it's known. So what about I and no I at all? They are only different realities arising by conditions. And so what is better? To take it for I, cling to it. So very dukkha about the painful feeling. No one can stop it because it's conditioned to arise. And the painful moment of losing someone or something we like so much, the present moment is gone. So it's a dukkha because it would like it to stay long or all the time. And the and the understanding of the ultimate truth, nothing can stay at all. Nothing can be, anyone can make it arise. It's just the way it is. Dhamma is Dhamma because it's a reality. Who can change it from being such seeing a moment, hearing a moment, thinking a moment? So just learn to understand the truth. Nothing to be done, but understanding works its way, little by little, to let go ignorance and attachment. One day, no more, absolutely, never to arise again, stage by stage. Is that better than no understanding of the truth at all? Just live, experience different things with different kinds of feeling, and then no more forget about what has been experienced in this life. no thought about it, because the other object is there. When Chitta experiences new life, new thought about whatever is there, on and on and on as something. That's why anyone who sees the most precious reality, understanding the truth of that which is now appearing, from hearing again and understanding the very subtle truth of whatever is there, that it's covered up by its appearing, because the arising and falling away, who can change it to be slowly, to be known, it's there as it is, no matter when. So very quickly conditioned to arise, and then as soon as has arisen, it falls away instantly. That's the way it is. No one can stop. From moment to moment, different realities are there by conditions, even right now. It's like understanding that which has been taken as I, so very heavy, to be no I at all, free from all kinds of task or burden or something to be done, to be liked, to be wished for, and so on. So understanding the truth a little more, can condition a little more joy of understanding the truth. And it doesn't matter how much there is the understanding of what is said by conditions. If there's no hearing about the truth, no careful consider to understand which is so true, so no one can do anything, because they are all dhammas, the way they are, conditioned, arising and falling away, until right understanding sees the danger of the burden of taking on for self or something. Just let go, little by little, what is there as something to be like or belong to. See, that's the way life is. And when the understanding is not firm enough, as soon as we don't talk about it, there is the idea of something on and on again. So true to understand the different moments between understanding and ignorance and all kinds of akusla. So daily life, because Dhamma is daily condition, sleeping, waking, seeing, hearing, on and on and on and on. And we think of tomorrow food, tomorrow work, tomorrow place, and on and on. To go and on with attachment, on and on with ignorance, on and on with clinging, until that is moment of hearing about the truth. How much interest to know that it's so deep, but it can be realized, but not with any will or expectation, because it has to be understanding closer and closer and closer to realize the truth of the one the Buddha had enlightened. So anytime hearing, considering Dhamma, it's conditioned to understand a little more, to wear away, to let go of a little more by itself, by panya or right understanding. Because wrong understanding cannot let go of any akusla at all. That's why be truthful to the truth has to be from the very beginning. No I, not anything, not anyone. Seeing is seeing only. But the truth of it is that it is a reality which is conditioned to arise to see. That's all. That's why it brings more and more understanding of what is there, has to be conditioned by its proper condition. Hearing has to be sound as a condition for its arising, but without the ear base, the special rupa, that it can be only that which the sound impinges on, conditioned sound. There can never be sound arising. Excuse me, there cannot be sound to be heard because there is no, excuse me again, sound is conditioned, but without the base and the other condition, nothing can experience
Indeed.
sound.
Yes.
See,
There
it's
cannot be hearing.
Mhm.
I think the word you are searching for, Ajahn, is there cannot be the hearing of the sound without those
Yes.
conditions.
Mhm. Any moment, each moment is conditioned by its proper conditions. The truth is the truth anytime, any moment of hearing, any moment of thinking, understanding conditions for such and such thought or such and such reality. So it's now.
So it's the teachings, which is Upanaiko, the Dhamma, the tool to get closer to the truth. Otherwise, no chances, no opportunity to approach the truth. And the word of the word from the Kalyanamitta, from the words of the Buddha.
So the understanding of each word of truth is the way developed until it can understand better and clearer, leading to the truth, to realize the truth. Anytime, by conditions. So the truth is all around. Whatever is there is so true, but its truth is that it's not last at all. It's there and then gone unknowingly until right understand more and more and more of one reality at a time. Otherwise, how can it be realized? Because in a moment, there is only the realities which appear no matter what. But without understanding, even it's now, see, no understanding of the way it is, of the truth of it. That it's not I at all, no matter what is seen in life. And this is the truth of realities that can be developed, that can be considered to have confidence of the truth until it conditions the moment of understanding directly of a reality right now. No matter how much one tries to be aware, to understand it, it cannot be that understanding at all because no understanding, just trying so hard without understanding. So that's not the way to understand what is there right now. The way is be truthful to the truth of what is there.
Yes,
So-
and as we discussed, I think last time, that when we think about certain situations, like trying so hard is one kind of situation because one thinks I should do, or if there is more understanding, and it takes away from the understanding of the truth. So it's not helpful at all. One forgets about the present moment that's conditioned just the way it is, no matter here or there or shopping or listening to the Dharma. There are just different realities to be understood. Otherwise, if one tries to make it this way or that way, or this situation or that situation, or tries hard to understand the meaning, it's all about I. It's not the understanding of Dhamma. It's not open aiko, getting close to what appears naturally by conditions.
I have a question of a different nature if we're ready to move on a bit. Can you hear me? I can't hear you, Sarah.
Go ahead, Anne. I can hear you. Go ahead.
We've, in a couple of discussions over the past few days, we've been talking about vipallasa, which I found really useful. And I also found the DSG note that Jonathan put in a couple of days ago about, various definitions of vipallasa. And I'm thinking particularly of sanya. I have, which is sometimes translated as memory and or perception. And when I look at Jonathan, you provided some. I'm not going to say definitions. Some from Bhikkhu Bodhi's book about vipallasa, the perversions, and I've been thinking about I guess I'm looking for the difference between, if there is any, memory and what's the word? Sorry, perception.
Perception. Yeah.
Right. Because
it's a good question, Anne. I think it's come up before, and be interesting to hear Ajahn comments on it. I think it was Sarah who posted about the vipallasas. My recent posting was about abhisamaya.
okay.
Yeah,
Well,
but
whichever one of you
anyway,
did.
the question is the same. You'd like to know, is there a difference between understanding sanya as memory and
Right.
understanding sanya as perception?
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, in my own thinking, which quite possibly incorrect, memory is basically sanya remembers. Perception seems to be a perception of something that is it's either right perception, or it's distorted perception of what is appearing is distorted by not understanding.
I think there can be distortion without there can be non-distortion even without right understanding. But
Yes, I can see
if,
that.
if the citta is kusala, then there's no distortion of
Correct.
the perception of the memory. Memory we think of as being recall, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But also one possible way to consider this is that the way we perceive things is very much dependent on the way the recall, the memory is working. So
Yes.
yeah, perception of objects and other things is dependent on memory.
Yes, I see that part.
Yeah. So in that sense, that's how I see a connection between perception and what we think of as memory.
Mhm.
Because take color, for example, some people will see color differently than the majority of people. And it's
Yeah.
all down to their recall of what is the color now appearing.
Mhm.
But apart from that, I don't know if there's any doctrinal significance in the difference between sanya as memory and sanya as perception. But obviously, in some contexts, one can see that one of those terms is appropriate, or the other isn't.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to pass over to Sarah and then Ajahn for comments on your question. Thanks.
Thanks, Jonathan.
I just mentioned briefly, well, whether we talk about memory and perception or remembers and marks, it doesn't really matter. But at each moment of experience, there is the marking of what is seen, marking of what is heard, marking of what is thought about. It's marked and it's remembered. And when it's kusala or akusala thinking, the remembering accumulates. So there comes to be the idea of a flower or a Jan or Anne or this face or that face, because each visible object has been marked and it's remembered. So later it is recalled. It conditions the thinking about that object as being a certain way, the features of this face or that face, all because of sanya. Without sanya, no thinking about different sense objects that have been experienced. And as we stressed the other day, it is only vipalasa whenever it is akusala memory arising with akusala citta. So whenever the memory is akusala, in other words, whenever it arises with lobha, dosa, or moha, then at that moment it is a distortion of sanya, a perversion of sanya, even if one is conventionally remembering everything very well and one gets perfect score in an exam. At each moment of thinking, each moment of marking, when there's no kindness, no generosity, no understanding, it is sanya vipalasa at those moments.
Thank you.
And likewise, one can be very forgetful, like remembering the word perception, for example, like a moment ago. But if the citta is kusala, it's not sanya vipalasa. So I think it all points to the value of developing understanding, because by developing understanding, kusala develops and kusala sanya develops, regardless of whether the name is recalled or remembered or not.
Yes, thank you. That helps. Trying to express what I'm thinking here. Yes, I can see how Sanya would have to be involved. Although okay, let's look at seeing. You know something, I think it'd be better to hear from Ajahn at this point.
Is there sanya now?
Yes.
See, every moment, right?
Yes.
Depending on the object and the accumulation of sanya.
Yes.
That's all. A reality. It remembers the object. It marks the object. Otherwise, how can there be remembering or remembrance or recollection and so on?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I understand that. It's the, and maybe we're putting too much into the meaning of words here, but of perception.
If you don't use any word at all, you can understand sanya better, right?
Yes.
That's all.
That's okay. Yes, I could see that without using the words. I guess we do get tangled up in words, though. I think Jonathan's explanation and Sarah's about without the sanya, there cannot be, well, a lot of things. There cannot be recognition of things. But I'm thinking about in the process of thinking, for instance, when there is seeing, there will be number of many seeings, and then the nimitta of seeing leading to the shape and form perceiving. No, I guess we don't. Yes, we do perceive shape and form. And then we can then there can be recognition of, say, we're looking at a car. There's a lot of jittas going by in the process of getting to a car. And I think I guess I was looking at some point the word perception seems to apply in terms of well, I guess what is thought about, what is perceived and thought about. And I realize there's memory involved for sure, but that's where I've gotten caught a bit on perception. It is definitely much easier to think about Ajahn Sanya with no words at all. But I guess that's where my thinking of the difference might come in. And it could be that it's overthinking, or it doesn't need to be thought of. Just know that memory plays a big part.
I'm just wondering, Anne, if we use the term recognition instead of perception, would you find that easier to relate to in this context?
Yes.
Memory and recognition.
Yes, I think so. Because without the memory, there won't be the recognition. Yes, I think that helps, Jonathan. Thanks.
And if we don't think at all about those words, just attend to the characteristic of now, it remembers no matter what. It arises with each citta. Otherwise, how can there be seeing? We talk about seeing if there's no memory, sanya of seeing to talk about.
Yeah.
That's why just sanya is a reality which arises with each citta. That's all. No matter by what way, confusing or forgetful of whatever. Sanya is there each moment in order to get closer to sanya, it has to understand the nature of it, not just the word about it.
Yes.
More confusion.
Yes.
At that moment, no thought that sanya is there all the time, each word, each thought, and so on. Each moment, whenever there is citta, experiences the object, sanya marks and remember that object. Instantly, by condition, arising together, experience the same object, but it's not achieved of experiencing, but it marks and remembers. That's why we remember everything in life, the mountain, the sea, the sun, the moon. Without sanya, it cannot be sun or moon at all.
Yes, that I find clearer to understand.
So now there is sanya, see? Each
Yes.
moment, closer to the moment when sanya is there. Not think about other things, but begin to be interested in the nature of sanya. Not that which is the chief of experiencing, but it's that which marks and remember. Remember by sanya, see? Each moment of citta.
Yes. And I think where I started, that's clear, Ajahn. That's very clear, and it is certainly much easier to understand without the word. I can't even remember. I can't. Why I keep forgetting it. Perception.
Do we have to think about it? Perception, that is sanya as well.
Yes.
Perception, sanya, marks and remember.
So yeah, okay. Perception is
But the word takes one away
yes,
from understanding the nature of that which marks and remember each word, each moment of saying, each moment of thinking. Sanya is there. That's why it is sanya khanda.
yes, yes, yes. I guess this question for me arose after thinking about vipallasa, which we've spoken about, and sanya vipallasa.
The word again, vipallasa.
So yes, I realize that.
It arises with akusala, not
yes,
understanding.
yes, yes, it does, and not taking the impermanent for permanent and the not self for self. No, right. Anyway, and I guess that's a different level of. Well, I was going to say it's a different level of sanya, but it's a kusala sanya. That's really what it is. All of it is a kusala sanya.
And wrong sanya conditions such thinking, wrong idea, and on, keep on.
Yes.
Wrong sanya. No understanding of sanya, which is there each moment.
Okay.
That's why it has to be Dhamma Sattvitthana.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what or understand what you said.
Dhamma Satipatthana include understanding sanyas.
Yes,
Otherwise,
That is,
sanya is I all the time.
I remember. That's right. Okay, thank you. This helps. Helps clear things up.
Not to cling to the perception or any word about sanya. But the reality of sanya is now. It remembers and marks whatever appearance.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Jilly, you wrote a question, Jilly Peachy, Would you like to read out your question, maybe one line at a time?
Thank you. My question is, if I experience satisfaction about an event, something that happened, and then I think, oh, that's actually me feeling attachment or dukkha. So then is that realization that my satisfaction is actually dukkha? Is there a little bit of kusala in the thinking where I recognize that?
So if there's a beginning to consider that actually, as you said, it's not I that experience satisfaction or anything, because they're just different dharmas. Satisfaction, dissatisfaction, happiness, sadness, they're all just different dharmas, and they all are impermanent. So none of them are actually satisfactory. They're all dukkha. So there can be a little wise considering. And if it's wise considering, it's kusala. But no one else can say whether that thinking at that time was kusala or not, because only the panya at the time can know. Like at a moment of thinking, now I wonder whether that was kusala, or I wonder whether panya arose at that moment. It's not kusala because it's doubt at that moment. It's I wondering about my experience. So no one else can say at any time whether it's kusala or not. It just depends on the wise considering at the moment. And anyway, it's all gone.
Yeah. And if I was then pleased with myself for having a little moment of kusala, that would be
clinging for sure. clinging. Oh, a little bit of kusala, a little bit of kindness, a little bit of understanding, clinging. So that's why attachment is the second noble truth, because it can cling to anything. It can cling to meanness, it can cling to kindness, it can cling to understanding, it can cling to wrong view, clinging all day from waking up to going to bed. So as you say, maybe a little bit of wise considering, a little moment of kusala, and then clinging instantly.
But we don't have to think that I shouldn't be pleased with myself for that, because that's not appreciating the fact that these reactions are conditioned, and what arises by conditions, and it's there already. So the goal is not to try and have less kusala and more kusala, but just to better understand what the reality of the moment is. Thanks.
And to understand that it's just a Dhamma. So if it's pleased with myself and clinging, they're just passing Dhammas of no consequence, all gone already. Otherwise, it's I who thinks it shouldn't be like that again. So whatever arises is just a Dhamma, not belonging to me, not my understanding, not my pleased with myself, not my clinging, just different Dhammas. Daily life.
I've got cicadas here, so I need to turn the sound off.
Anyway, good topic, and Ajahn may like to add more, or anyone else.
สวัสดีค่ะกราบท่านอาจารย์ค่ะสวัสดีคุณซาร่าค่ะ Okay, let me get back to the term diversion or viparassa, and I would like to thank ท่านอาจารย์กราบท่านอาจารย์ for your explanation, your comments which you make to Kun Ann, right? These make my understanding develop a little. However, well, actually today, as I mentioned in the chat, that I want to, study more. I want to contemplate the term. But as Kun Anne mentioned about perception or recognition or sanya, isn't it? And this, I've got more understanding. And the question I would like to ask is aboutท่านอาจารย์ said, Kun Sara, ท่านอาจารย์ and Kun Sara said about the term diversion, which arise during akusala citta, and during the hearing of ท่านอาจารย์ and Kun Anne, there's, well, I think, right, is kusala, because there's a little understanding developed. And there's viliya, which is, I don't know whether it's kusala or akusala. And I'm definitely sure that it's self, not Dhamma. And well, the question is, how could I know that it's akusala or kusala, Sarah?
I think it's the same as Gillian's question. It's like thinking about the situation that occurred before and trying to know, trying to work out whether it's kusala or akusala. So at that moment of thinking, what was it? It's I who wants to know, who's trying to work it out. And there's doubt. So it's not helpful at all to think about the situation that occurred and try to know whether those some moments were kusala and some akusala. Like you say, I think when hearing Anne and Ajahn, there must be kusala, but it's just speculating about it. It's not the same as understanding kindness, for example, when it appears, or understanding sound when it appears. It's thinking about, well, there was sound and we're having a Dhamma discussion, so there must be some kusala. That's not kusala thinking. So instead of trying to work it out, trying to catch it, it's all gone anyway. No one can know whether there was understanding at those moments or not, because it's all gone. And how could I know? It's I wanting to know so much instead of letting go. So it's clinging to the story, clinging to I, clinging to finding out exactly which moment was kusala and which was akusala. Okay, 7 minutes ago it was a moment of kusala. It doesn't help at all. So it's all gone. What about now? What about at the moment of how could I know? Or I think it might have been. What is the Dhamma now? Just thinking and speculating and clinging to I. Are you interested for someone else whether there was kusala 7 minutes ago? Of course not. So it's clinging to I, wanting to know, instead of letting go of the baggage, the clinging to I, it's accumulating more. It's all gone. So what about now? What about now? Even now, if it's trying to work out at this moment of listening, is it kusala or akusala? Then it's not understanding at this moment. It's still I trying to catch it. It's like the idea of noting or observing or paying attention to be aware. It's not the same as understanding and sati, awareness of what appears naturally by conditions. So I gets in the way all the time.
Yeah.
And if I could just add a brief word, Kunsapatson,
Ah.
knowing that difference that you mentioned, the difference between kusala and akusala, that is a function of a level of panya, not the panya of insight, which knows the true nature of the characteristic, but the panya of samatha development, which knows kusala from akusala, and the subtle, the difference between subtle akusala, for example, and kusala. So we need to start from the position that that understanding has not yet been developed.
Yeah.
And this means there's no point in trying to know whether it's kusala or akusala.
Okay.
It's like wanting to have insight. It can't bring insight because only the right conditions can result in moments of awareness and understanding. Right? And why do we want to know the difference between kusala and akusala? Because we'd like to have more of one and less of the other.
Exactly.
Right?
Right, exactly.
And it's just wishful thinking.
Mm.
Because the extent to which there is kusala in one's life or akusala is determined not by the way we would wish things to be, but by conditions that are beyond our understanding and past accumulations. So it's a bit of a trap in terms of developing insight. There may be also the unrecognized view that for insight to develop, there needs to be more kusala in one's life first. And is that correct?
Yeah, it is.
I know it's not.
Why not?
The conditions for insight to develop are not having more kusala in one's life, but are to do with hearing the Buddha's teaching and considering the true meaning of what he is explaining about the reality of the present moment. And that awareness and understanding can arise regardless of one's accumulations for liking and disliking, for strong attachment, for getting angry and so forth, because they are dependent on understanding the way things are. And so this is why Ajahn often says that, I hope I'm not misquoting her here, but she doesn't teach that there is a need to know the difference between kusala and akusala in our daily life. Okay. What she does explain, as the Buddha explained, that mostly it's akusala.
Correct.
It may not be strong akusala. It may not be the kind of akusala that conditions result in a future life or this life. But nevertheless, it's not kusala most of the time. It's only kusala at the odd moments of when one or other of the different kinds of kusala occur. Different kinds of kusala occur spontaneously and naturally, not by trying to be a more kindly person or have more metta or this sort of thing, but naturally in life.
True.
Thanks. I'll pass over to Ajahn now.
I appreciate your comments on this. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your interest so much, Patson. Ajahn, would you like to talk further on this, please? Thank you.
Is it not clear enough? See, it's clear. Or is there any other question or say about this?
Well, it's clear, ท่านอาจารย์ and I from ท่านอาจารย์ คุณ Sarah and คุณ Jonathan comments, I'm beginning to know about self to know about this, to know about that. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
So, what is self? Shall we talk about it again?
Yes, please, doubt.
Is
Yeah.
What is it?
I doubt about the term sanya at the moment. Like, I want to elaborate more about the sanya which Kun Ann already mentioned, because I think it's very important, and there's a lot of sanya, but there's itself, who understand is not understanding. Is anything, I think it's usual, but I don't know. I want to understand more. Please.
Just the word you said, self. What does it mean?
Self, seeing itself, hearing itself, understanding itself all the time.
What is the meaning of self? What does it mean? Seeing itself, hearing itself. What does it mean?
I don't know. It's a kind of Dhamma. It's Dhamma, and it's Nama. It's not Rupa. That's all I can think of at the moment.
Yeah, that's why we have to understand clearer and clearer about the word of the teaching, which is so very subtle. What is self? Is atta.
Okay, right.
And what is atta?
Atta is self. Is atta is
not the word.
My memory, my hearing,
Because you think that when you understand the word, you think you understand the reality, but it's not that at all. You just understand the meaning, but not the reality.
Yeah, I know. I'm beginning to understand that. I understand the meaning, the word, not
So
the.
again, when we use Pali, we can understand wider. What is the self? What is self? Anything can be discussed to have more understanding or clearer understanding. What is self? If someone asks you, what is self?
Self is atta. It's not
Pali term,
atta.
not Thai word or English word.
I'm sorry.
But what does it mean? Atta.
You mean atta?
Yeah.
Atta in Bali is.
No, atta is Pali already.
Oh,
but
atta.
You heard the word atta. What is it? What does it mean? Is there atta now? What are attas? Not enough to say, to answer. But what about the understanding, the truth, wider, clearer, and more truthful? And this is the study of the reality, which is so very subtle. No matter we just say, follow the word. What about the understanding? You can have the explanation, dictionary or Buddha, this word, and so on. But what is it? Is it a reality or it's not? So what is self?
Is Itta is reality arising and falling, right?
Is
Read
that
it.
so? Is that so?
It's not
And what
self,
is,
it's Dhamma.
uh, you see, what is Dhamma again? It's not just the word, but the understanding of the reality as it is. And why do we say reality? See, it's not the word.
Reality, like for example,
No, what is it? Before example,
what's your question again, Ajahn? I have forgotten.
what is that?
What is Dhamma?
No, what is self?
Or what is self?
Mhm.
Self is atta. Self is
See,
Dhamma.
remember the word. Remember the word.
Oh,
But it's
wow,
not
I
the
understand.
understanding.
Okay, at the beginning to understand.
Kunsapatson, is there a Dharma which is atta or self?
It's Dhamma. It's not self.
What kind of Dharma is self? Is it a chitta, a cetasika, or a rupa?
It's Chitta and Cetasika and Rupa
Oh.
as well. What you at the moment is
Is seeing self?
it's cheating.
Seeing is chitta, so is seeing atta?
Seeing is not atta. Seeing is
So what
chitta.
chitta is atta?
What chitta is atta?
Because
Right?
you said that atta is chitta, cetasika, and rupa.
Or could you please ask again? I lost.
Is atta a Dhamma?
Is a is Dhamma.
What Dhamma is atta? It's Cetasika. In truth, is there any atta in life, or are dhammas all anatta? Whatever dhamma arises and falls away, it's anatta. So actually, there is no dhamma that is atta. So when there is wrong view, it is the ditthi which takes the chitta, the cetasika, and the rupa for being atta. But the chittas, the cetasikas, and rupas are not atta because there is no atta. So it's the ditthi has the wrong understanding about the seeing, the visible object, the hearing, the sound, taking them for being atta, for something, for someone. But there is no atta in truth.
Oh,
there are only dhammas arising and falling away, which are anatta. So when Ajahn asks you, what is atta? Atta is not a chitta, it's not a cetasika, it's not a rupa, because they are anatta. Atta is what is wrongly understood when the dhammas are taken for being something now, someone now. It's atta ditthi, the wrong understanding of atta. So no dhamma that is atta, but there's wrong understanding of dhammas, taking them for being atta because of sanya vipalasa, ditthi vipalasa. So there's throughout the day taking what is seen now for something because of wrong memory, wrong thinking, and so on. But there is no atta, there is no sun, there is no moon, there is no person, there is nothing there, no one there. So no utter Dhamma, but there is the utter ditthi, the wrong idea of utter, of something.
Therefore, well, just a small conclusion right now is anatta, is not atta, correct?
Whether or not we have ever heard the Buddha's teachings, whether or not the Buddha ever taught about the truth, all dhammas are anatta, never utter. So it doesn't, whether or not there's any understanding, seeing now is anatta. It's not I that sees, it's not something that is seen. It's the Dhamma that arises and falls away. It doesn't belong to anyone. It's not in anyone's control. It's anatta. All dhammas are anatta, no matter we've heard a lot or heard nothing at all. All dhammas are anatta. No dhamma is atta.
But just to state the obvious, this truth that that Sarah is just explaining and taught by the Buddha, this truth is not understood by us. We can comprehend what it means at a certain level, but the understanding of the truth of that statement is something else altogether. So there is still, even when we are saying there is no atta and this moment is anatta, there can still be, that can be said with or without right view or wrong view.
Okay.
So we need to appreciate the difference between understanding and knowing the words, because anyone can speak the words, but what is the level of understanding?
Okay. Yeah.
So again, for us, there is the idea of atta, there is the wrong view. There is no reality that is atta. There is just the idea of atta as being real. And that idea has been accumulated and is there and arises from time to time. And this is the meaning when we talk about dit asava, the asavas, that the unwholesome tendencies that arise constantly, continuously at a low level and are not apparent. So even when we think there's no such idea in our mind, the tendency can still be arising as an asava, but not known to us. So in our normal daily life, there are moments of wrong view about atta. There can be moments of right view about atta, and there are other moments that are neither right view nor wrong view, just thinking with kusala or akusala. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for your comments. Well, it seems at the moment there's understanding little about Dhamma in words and Dhamma in reality. Yeah. Thank you very much.
In one of the other discussions this past weekend, we had the quote that the Dhamma is beyond words to consider. Someone had heard that expression, and we came to realize that what it really means is the understanding of Dhamma is beyond words. So knowing the words is not the same as the understanding being present. And the understanding can be present without the need for words to describe moment.
Okay. Thank you very much. ค่ะ ค่ะ ค่ะท่าน
But just to one final comment, the condition for the understanding to arise includes hearing about the Buddha's teaching in words, of course, or you could read it, but mostly in words, considering what has been heard and comprehended at a basic level, and having the opportunity to discuss it, and that helps to clarify one's thinking and understanding. All happens in words, because words are the language of thoughts and communication.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to share your comments, Azita?
Yes, it's been a great discussion. It's really pinpointed the now moment and our confusions about it. But thank you to Achan, yourself and John for explaining really clearly what the now moment is. So, you know, I think if we, well, I'll speak for myself. If I hear this again and again and again, I understand how listening, but not just listening, taking it in and contemplating about what is heard with some right understanding, which, by the way, cannot be controlled. It just happens. Something was said the other day about it's already arisen and then it's gone. And so that thing of, you know, knowing there's a feeling the lopa for something, it's gone already. That lopa's probably risen and gone already. And I think that really pinpointing the Buddha's teachings is priceless, absolutely priceless. So thank you.
Always good to hear your comments, Azita. And we just have a few minutes if Ajahn would like to add anything further before we finish.
Yeah, that would be great.
So now everyone knows about Atta and Anatta. So what is seen now? See how
is
much?
anatta, Ajahn. Seeing is anatta too.
No, the question is, what is seen now?
Oh, what is seen?
Seeing is, sorry, Rick, you go ahead. Go ahead.
You can go ahead, sorry.
Okay. Seeing is the reality that sees visible object.
Yeah. Is that the understanding right now?
I would say it's intellectual understanding. It's not real, not the developed panya.
That's it, understanding, the different degree of understanding. Even we know about all dhammas are anatta, but what is seen now? See?
Yes.
To have more confidence of the truth, how much ignorance and how much wrong understanding of that which appears. What is seen? anytime, see, anytime, even when it's not as what is seen, it's there already. Something seen, see. How can there be the understanding in truth that it's not something? It has to be only that which can be seen in a day. Something is seen all the time, on the table, in the room, on the market, and anywhere. But the truth, how come to be little by little of understanding that very moment by conditions? That's why just saying that what is seen is not anything, it's just a reality, it's not self, it's not anything, not enough. That's the understanding in words. But what about now? Not as one said. That's why to be truthful to the truth, that there must be the understanding of the truth of what is there as not anything, not anyone, not atta or anatta. Because the atta I see and what is seen is always there in daily life until hearing about it and then forget it. By conditions, by accumulation of wrong understanding, taking it for self or something all the time. Ditasava, see, that's why only the moment of understanding the truth, the very truth of that very moment, is the way, only way to know what condition that, to understand that reality when it's there. Ignorance cannot, the citta cannot, but what can? See, that's why Buddha taught a little more and more and more about everything as it is through 45 years, about what is there now in life, each moment, to develop, to understand the truth, to be truthful to the truth. That's why we talk about again and again, saying what is seen, not the word, but to be reminded about the truth, the nature of that, which is seen right now. It's still something is seen. Even there is the understanding that it's not anything which can be seen, and talk about that reality which can be seen and is seen all day, all life, every life. But what about the understanding at moment of seeing? And this is the understanding of the very subtle truth, subtle reality that is so subtle. So it takes time, not by anyone, to be truthful, patient, pardon. See, so understand each word about the truth, what at that moment directly understand a reality right now by conditions, suddenly, instantly, anatta, not by anyone at all. See, stage by stage. And this is the way right understanding develops, little by little, by Satya Parami, Kanti Parami, Viriya Parami, no doubt about the meaning of the reality of Parami. A little more understanding condition, more truthful to the truth. Little